In the world of AI, things move so fast that a single week can feel like an entire year. But what we're about to talk about today is different. This isn't just another update or product launch. This is a story about a decision that shook one of the biggest companies in tech, and it all unfolded in less than 48 hours. And strangely enough, the entire story can be traced back to just one number, 1.5 million. Take a moment to think about that. It's a huge number. But what makes it truly shocking isn't just the size, it's the speed at which it appeared. Because according to a website tracking boycott pledges, that's how many ChatGPT users promised to leave the platform. Not slowly, not over months, almost overnight. This wasn't a quiet decline. It looked more like a sudden digital migration away from one of the most widely used AI tools on the planet. And the timeline is almost unbelievable. One day, there was an announcement. The very next day, thousands of users were already organizing, discussing, and planning to leave. It's a powerful reminder of something about the internet today. People can mobilize incredibly fast. So the obvious question is, what happened? What could possibly trigger that kind of reaction? Well, the spark that ignited the entire situation came from a single, highly controversial decision. OpenAI announced a deal with the United States Pentagon. That announcement alone sent shockwaves across its user community. For many people, it felt like a moment where the company crossed an important ethical line. Here's the basic idea. OpenAI agreed to allow the US military to use its AI models within secure, classified government systems. Now, for some users, that might sound like a normal government contract. But for others, it raised a much bigger concern. The fear that powerful AI technology could eventually be used in warfare. And almost immediately, critics began accusing the company of opening the door to future military applications of AI. But this is where the story takes an interesting turn. Because while all of this was happening, another company in the AI world was watching closely, OpenAI's biggest rival, Anthropic. And instead of making the same move, they made a completely different choice. While OpenAI said yes to the Pentagon deal, Anthropic reportedly said no. Anthropic, a company founded by former OpenAI employees and known for its strong focus on AI safety, refused to give the US government unrestricted access to its AI models. Suddenly, the situation became something bigger than just a contract. It became a clear contrast. Two major AI companies, two different decisions, two very different visions of how AI should be used. And the reaction from users was immediate. As people began leaving ChatGPT, many of them moved directly to Anthropic's AI assistant Claude. Over a single weekend, Claude reportedly surged to the #1 position on the App Store, a dramatic and unexpected shift in the AI landscape. But if you look a little deeper, the Pentagon deal wasn't the only thing driving the backlash. For many users, it was simply the final straw. According to the boycott tracking website, critics also pointed to other issues involving OpenAI. These included previous contracts with IC, as well as reports about a $25 million political donation from OpenAI's president. Individually, each of those issues sparked debate. But together, they created the perfect storm, a moment when frustration turned into action. And users didn't just talk about leaving, they actually did it. Thousands of people began exporting their data and moving their entire conversation history to other AI platforms. Interestingly, the process is surprisingly simple. Inside ChatGPT, users can open their settings, request a data export, and receive an email containing a download link to their entire chat history. A feature designed for transparency and data portability suddenly became something else entirely, an exit door. And on the other side of the door, Anthropic was ready. Instead of simply welcoming new users, they offered something clever. A specialized prompt designed to help people transfer their context and personal information from ChatGPT into Claude. In other words, they made switching easier than ever. It was a perfect example of timing. Anthropic didn't create the controversy, but they were ready to benefit from it. And for many frustrated users, moving to Claude suddenly felt quick, easy, and empowering. So when we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, this story becomes about more than just one company or one weekend. This 4.8-HOUR shockwave may have revealed something important about the future of AI. For the first time in the modern AI race, we saw something unusual happen. User values, ethics, trust, and public opinion directly influence the direction of the technology, not slowly, but almost instantly. In other words, the people who use these tools may have more power than we think, which raises a much bigger question. As artificial intelligence becomes more powerful and more deeply integrated into our daily lives, what will matter most? Will the biggest battles in AI be fought over better features and faster models, or over something far more complicated, values? Because if this moment is any indication, the next great competition in AI might not just be about technology. It might be about ethics. And if that's true, this story might only be the beginning. Something to think about.